What's up YouTube? Kainu back here again for another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Sony a5100, the Logitech Brio, and the Logitech C920. But before we begin, which one do you guys think is what? Drop it down in the comment section right now. This will be number 1, this will be number 2, and this will be number 3. If you're only here for the test of the video, this is the test, and then also I'll have a more full-length test later in the video, and the timestamp will be somewhere on the screen right now. If you find this video informative, make sure you leave a like and a subscription, and then all the links for the camera slash webcams will be down in the description, and I will earn a little bit if you purchase them through those links. But without further ado, let's hop into the video. Let's start it off with the Sony a5100. So the price tag for the Sony a5100 is a bit wide, I would say. It can start at $250 and it can go all the way up to, I think I've seen it all the way up to $600. A lot of YouTubers made reviews on it, and then a lot of people just started buying them up. But I got mine personally for around $275, so I got it on the low end. Thanks, I was lucky. But it's a 1920 by 1080p 60 FPS video format. You can also shoot it in 720p at 120 FPS, and then it shoots in RAW format, and then the ISO is 100 to 25,600. The camera has great autofocus. Like, I can pretty much put my hand up here and it'll focus on my hand like right away. It's super quick, super snappy. And then it supports XAVC-S, AVC HD, and then also MP4 format. And then it has an internal microphone, and it does not have an external microphone plug. So the only microphone you're going to be able to use is a separate microphone like this that you get, and you use a separate adapter or a separate amp for it, or you're going to be able to use the internal microphone within the Sony a5100. All right, and then it also has a flip up screen so you can see yourself as you're shooting your video, which is really nifty. And a lot of other cameras that I've tried out don't really have that. Like, I know a lot of the newer Sony Alpha series don't have that flip up screen, and a lot of people complain about it. And the final thing that I have to mention is that you get the bokeh background effect. So I'll show you guys real quick. So if I zoom in here, you see how my background is blurred if I lean up a little bit? That's the bokeh background effect, and this camera has a great bokeh background effect. But yeah, that's all the features for the Sony a5100. Let's move on to the Logitech Brio. So this is the Logitech Brio. I frequently find it for $120 all the way up to $200, but normally around $140 is what you're going to be able to pick it up on sites such as Amazon or Best Buy. This thing shoots at 4K 30 frames per second, 1080p 60 FPS, and then 720p 90 FPS. This thing has a USB 3.0 to USB Type-C cord that is 7.2 feet long, so it's pretty long. You can run it to wherever you need to run it to, and then it comes with a little clamp that you can put onto monitors. I'm personally putting on a tripod right now, and then it has 3 field of view options. It has 65 degrees, 78 degrees, and 90 degrees. There is a built-in microphone as well, so you can use it for your meetings, for your streams, or whatever else you want to use it for. I won't be showing a test of that in this video. I'll just be showing the video quality, but just know that for the future, okay? And then there's autofocus on the webcam, but there's no bokeh effect like the Sony a5100. And then finally, it is plug and play. So the Sony a5100, you need a dummy battery, and then you need a micro HDMI cord. And then finally, you also need a capture card. So this thing is plug and play compared to the Sony a5100. So this is the Logitech C920 now. You can find it anywhere from $30 all the way up to $100, but you'll typically find it at that sweet point at $60. So it shoots at 1080p, 30 FPS, and then 720p at 30 FPS. It does have a 78 degree field of view. And then it also has a built-in microphone that I won't be testing today, but it does sound quite nice. I use it in work meetings frequently. So if you're thinking about picking it up for work, it does sound pretty good. And then another thing to mention, it does have a USB 2.0 cable that is actually built into the webcam itself, so you're not going to be able to disconnect it like the Logitech Brio. And then it also has autofocus, but it does not have the bokeh effect that the actual Sony a5100 has. So how did each camera perform? So for me, they all perform pretty well. They all work just fine. I had no issues with them. The two Logitech cameras are plug and play, whereas the Sony a5100, you got to get the other stuff and you got to set it up properly, which can cause a little more of a barrier of entry, but they all work just fine for me. So what were my experiences with the three cameras? So for the Logitech cameras, I did have one gripe. It is that when I restart my computer, the settings would not carry over. So I would have to redo all of my settings every time I had a meeting, or if I wanted to stream, or if I wanted to make a YouTube video, I'd have to go back into the Logitech settings or my settings in OBS and redo them, recorrect them. There was no type of software that let me carry it over reboot. For the Sony a5100, it does get quite hot if you're shooting for extended periods of time. When I shot for 2 hours, it was hot to the touch, but not hot enough where I would touch it and then pull my hand away. But those are my gripes with the webcam slash cameras themselves. Okay, so here is the test with all three cameras side by side. This is no filters, by the way. So we see the Sony a5100, the Logitech Brio, and then the Logitech C920. So the Sony a5100 definitely has a lot more vivid of colors, I would say. I like the clarity of the Logitech Brio, and then the Logitech C920. I mean, you get what you paid for. It's definitely washed out. I'm gonna add some LUTs to each of these, and then we'll see how it looks after I do that. Okay, so this is now with a little bit of color correction, and then also I've applied a LUT to the actual video itself. So the C920, it does not look as bland. It actually looks, I mean, it looks a lot better in my opinion. The Logitech Brio in the middle, it looks a little better. The blue on my shirt's definitely popping a little more. And then I like the clarity. I feel like my skin it looks pretty good. And then the Sony a5100, I brought the saturation down just a little bit because when I shoot during the day, my skin looks super red. So I brought the saturation down a little bit so it would give me more of that natural tone. Let me know if I need to bring it down a little bit more, but I definitely like the look of everything on the Sony a5100. I feel like it's showing a lot more detail on my face, I would say. Like you can actually see, there we go. You can actually see more of each individual hair with the Sony a5100, whereas the Logitech Brio and the C920, it looks more of just like red. You know what I mean? But that's each of the webcam slash cameras with my LUT applied. Let's move into the next section and give my final thoughts. So who are these cameras slash webcams for? So I would say the Sony a5100 is for a content creator who is just going over the hill to monetization. Maybe you're hitting 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Maybe you're making money on TikTok. I would say this is for them just because you need so many moving parts and this can cost a fair bit of money. So if you're not making money, it is a big investment to make to get a mirrorless camera for your content creation. For the Logitech Brio, I would say it's the best all-around thing that I've reviewed today. You get the 4K, you get the plug-and-play ability, it has a built-in microphone, and then you get the large field of view that a lot of content creators want. Whereas the Logitech C920, I would say, is definitely a more budget-friendly option. So let's say you're a parent and your kid wants to start streaming or start making YouTube videos, I would tell them to pick up the C920 because it's got all the features of the Brio, but it doesn't have the 4K option, but it definitely works great and it's plug and play. So it's definitely a great option, but all three of these are great options if you're looking to get into the field of content creation. So now that we've wrapped up all three cameras slash webcams, if you want me to put the Sony a5100 against my iPhone 13 Pro Max, drop it down in the description below. All three links will be down in the description for the three devices in this video. If you found this video informative, make sure you like, you comment, and you subscribe. And don't forget to take it easy.